the county. We've got a great group of presenters here to update you on what's happening in our county. I'm Mark Lester. I am on the Chamber Board as well as representing Sierra Pacific Industries in our community. So today for our speaker lineup, we have Chair of the County Board, Martin Huberty. Martin, where's Martin? Back here? Yeah. We have Emily Kilgore representing CAL FIRE. We have our Undersheriff, Chris Villegas here. Where's Chris at? I saw him here someplace. There he is, back here. And we have Megan Leahy from the Upper Mokelumne River Watershed Authority. And we also have Tammy Sterrett. She's not here yet, from Motherlode Job Training, though. So before we begin our presentation, we'd like to take a moment and pause for reflection, since today is September 11th, a day of remembrance and unity we honor for those who lost their lives and the heroes and the strength that our country faced during that time. So to lead us in the pledge, I'd like to bring up here Lieutenant, is it Lieutenant or? Stark.
Today we remember and honor the lives lost on 9/11. At 8:46, the first plane struck the North Tower. At 9:03, the second plane struck the South Tower. At 9:37, third plane into the Pentagon. At 10:03, the fourth plane, United 93, went down in Pennsylvania Field after passengers bravely fought back. Nearly 3,000 innocent lives were taken that day: passengers, crew members, first responders, and civilians. Countless more due to illness and mental health issues since then. Families were torn apart, communities shaken. The impact is still felt to this day. Calaveras County also has another significant event for 9/11, which is the Butte Fire. So today, we'd like to remember the victims, honor the heroes, and remind ourselves that even in the darkest times, we are stronger when we stand together. So please join me in a short moment of silence for those who have been lost. With that, and affirm we will never forget, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Here we go. We don't have that. We're going to use this one. Oh, there we go. We found
it. We have two today, one for Calaveras and one for 9/11. Ready? Pledge.
Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States
of America
and
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Good morning, my esteemed colleagues, community leaders, residents, and friends. It's an honor to speak today about the place we all hold so dear, Calaveras County. My name is Martin Huberty, and I'm honored to serve as the chair of the Board of Supervisors this year. Ours is a county defined by breathtaking landscapes, rich traditions, and the strength of community spirit. The strides we make together this past year, or have made this past year, at the county have been of dynamic growth, deepened community bonds, and steadfast resilience. I'd like to start today by telling you a story of 9/11, which it's personal to me. I've known Sarah Ferguson since we were teenagers. She's also known as the Duchess of York. Actually, hang on just a second. There we go. And in 1995, she saw this cover of Newsweek. This was at the Oklahoma City bombing. And she saw this child, and she thought, who's taking care of that child? So she flew to Oklahoma City, and she found that child in the hospital. And he was burned over 80% of his body. His name is PJ, and his grandmother, he lived with his grandmother because his parents were drug addicts. His grandmother looked at Sarah and said, please save my grandson. So she created this doll. She drew it on a napkin. It actually, this is obviously an artist's rendering. Her artwork isn't that good. And she sold this at FAO Schwarz for $20 a doll. And she was able to raise enough money to take care of PJ and other children. She started a charity called Chances for Children. This is PJ, this is Becca. He was 9 years old, he's 30 today. And you can see a little picture of his grandmother at his bedside and obviously the federal building that was bombed. And she would visit him, and she created a whole series of dolls. You can't really see it in this one, but she's got the country doll there, and PJ, and she was able to set up a charity both here in the States and in the UK. Howard Lutnick, who's now our Commerce Secretary, had offices on the 101st floor. He lost almost 700 people that day with Cantor Fitzgerald. Her office was on the same floor, and Little Red sat on her desk and looked up Manhattan towards Central Park. And on that fateful day, when the buildings came down, Little Red was one of the only artifacts intact that came down from that tower. And this was on the front page of the New York Post the next day. And Larry King said, oh, look, somebody said, oh, look, a child's doll in the article. And Larry King on air said, that's not just a little doll, that's Little Red, and she stands for children's rights all over the world. Little Red happened to be carried out by a fireman, just like PJ. I say this because with that money, the Duchess has been able to, this is figures from 2017. She had built 32 schools from the ground up. She supports 250 schools every year, and she's taught over 30,000 teachers. One of my greatest achievements in working with her was actually having the doll installed in the 9/11 Museum. And if you ever get the chance in New York to go to the 9/11 Museum, it's life-changing. You will remember it for the rest of your life. I say this because coming in as a supervisor was my first foray into government. And I was like, oh, now I get why nothing ever happens. But that was quickly overcome by how much does happen that we as citizens just take for granted. We don't know. I was blown away and continue to be blown away by the dedication and professionalism at the Government Center. Again, like this 9/11 story that I just told, so much good goes on behind the scenes that not everyone is aware of. What truly sets Calaveras apart is our people, neighbors helping neighbors, volunteers supporting local schools and events, youth programs, families coming together at the county fair, parades, music in the park. The spirit of generosity is what makes us strong. This spirit is also exemplified by our county staff. We are proud of our growing small business community, our ranches, vineyards, and our commitment to sustainable growth. Agriculture, tourism, and craftsmanship remain the backbone of our local economy. And with each new business or new infrastructure project, we lay the foundation for a brighter future. To name a few, we've got Jack in the room here, the Wagon Trail Project. It's been a huge undertaking, and phase 1 will be complete soon. The District Attorney's Building, the Behavioral Health Building, and of course the Animal Shelter are all in the works and moving forward. A quick shout out to our dedicated volunteers at the Animal Shelter and to Lisa and Shauna, who have recently been bringing in dogs to be adopted into our meetings, and that's really helped. Integrated waste and the opening of the new cell at Rock Creek. This will last for the next 50 to 70 years. It's a huge asset to our county. I was mocked by saying that I thought it was a rite of passage to go to the dump, and I remember, on the weekends going with my father to the dump, and I'll stand by that and say, I think it's really good as children to understand where your waste goes and to know what wastefulness is. The county's support, and the county's support of all of our organizations. One example being the Resource Connection and the Food Drive. I wish everyone could see the generosity and the creativity that every department at the county does for the food drive. We enjoyed championing our amazing residents this past year with proclamations from Irene Perbel and her stories of Nazi occupation to celebrating last month a combined 94 years of service of 3 amazing retirees, our valedictorians. Celebrating a full year now of Calaveras County's first female sheriff, Sheriff Whiting. To our new employees and department heads, Len DeGroot, Micah Martin, Brett Sampson, and Jesse Sprague, so enjoyed getting to know you and work with you. To Marcos Munoz, and taking the helm at HHSA. The success of our capital improvement projects and the recent Public Works Awards. The heroic task of bringing our 2026 budget into line, which entailed significant reductions for staff and departments. Thank you to our CEO, Teresa Hitchcock and Denise. I'd like to shout out to everyone that makes this county great, and there are so many great achievements to highlight, and these are only a few, but otherwise we'd be here all day. We all know the beauty and challenges of Calaveras, from wildfire preparedness to watershed restoration. Our firefighters, deputies, health workers, and first responders continue to serve with courage and dedication. They've taken bold steps to protect lives, homes, and our natural resources. This has never been more evident than what we experienced last week in Districts 4 and 3. The future of Calaveras lives in our classrooms. From elementary school programs to high school athletics and scholarship opportunities, our county continues to invest in giving young people the tools to thrive. Sherry, Rachel, what you do with On the Right Track, more people should know about. Our youth carry forward the hope of innovation while staying rooted in the values of our community. Calaveras, simply put, is a way of life, a place where history meets progress, where nature inspires resilience, and where community defines us all. Together, let's continue to celebrate the highlights, protect what makes us unique, and build a legacy worthy of the generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin, for sharing that with us. And now at this time, I'd like to bring to the stage Emily Kilgore representing CAL FIRE, but also to recognize, I think in the house we have Adam Andal from County Supervisor. Would you, there you go, would you stand up, please? So thank you so much for being here. In addition to that, these events don't happen without just the great staff that we have here. So we have Jamie in the back here, someplace. Where's Jamie at? Thank you. We have Sherry, who is our board chair, and we also have Rachel. So a big round of applause for our staff members. And without further ado, Emily.
On stage. I don't like being on stage. You guys are lucky. My name's Emily Kilgore. I'm the Fire Prevention Specialist for CAL FIRE Tuolumne Calaveras Unit. Unit Chief Nick Cashy was going to attend today as well, but with all the activity that was brought to us last week, he's managing that kind of stuff. So you get me. Let's talk about, did it go? Yep. All right. So how many of you seen the presentation that I do throughout the community? How many of you have seen me do a presentation at all? Okay, new faces, good. The first thing that I want to talk to you about is fuel reduction, and that slide does not look correct. Anyway, fuel reduction partnered with home hardening, partnered with all of our community members participating actively with fire preparedness is what's going to save our communities. That was evident last week. So let me talk about how CAL FIRE is doing fuel reduction throughout the county. We do large-scale fuel reduction projects. Our fuel reduction projects tend to try to protect multiple communities, and we use ridge lines and other features like highways to connect to make that area bigger so that we're connecting or protecting more communities. The federal government, like the Forest Service, does the same kind of thing, large-scale fuel reduction projects. Counties do it, and a lot of times they're funded by grant funds to assist with that, and they're also large-scale. We're looking at protecting as many people as we can with the least amount of work at the least amount of cost. Then there's moderate or medium scale fuel reduction projects, typically Firewise, I messed up this morning, I'm sorry. Typically that's fire safe councils. How many of you know what fire safe council you live in? We are in the Foothill Calaveras Fire Safe Council here. They have the opportunity to go after grant funding to do moderate or medium scale. So typically they're looking at protecting a single community, a single town. Then there's the Firewise communities. How many of you are a part of a Firewise community? Not many. Highway 4 was some of the initial Firewise communities in the state when they first started a few decades ago. And Firewise communities are small-scale fuel reduction projects. It's neighbors helping neighbors, coming together, creating a plan to protect their individual neighborhood, going after some of that grant money to get the work done, and making their community more safe. And then there's Public Resource Code 4291. Do you guys know what that is? Have you heard of it before? How about the term defensible space? Do you guys know what defensible space is? Defensible space is a fuel reduction project on your personal property. Now, each one of these things aren't going to work alone. We all have to be doing these constantly and then maintaining the work that we're doing. So we're all just a piece to the puzzle. There's fuel reduction projects currently in Calaveras County. There's some right behind in the Forest Meadows area, Blue Lake Springs area. Some of that is also being done with the local landowners like SPI, the Forest Service, and funded through various groups. There's some out behind West Point, Winton Shads area. There's some around New Hogan Lake. There's right here at PAWS, the Performing Animal Welfare Society property for the community of San Andreas. And then the Whittle VMP over by the cell phone tower just outside of Copperopolis, between Angels Camp and Copperopolis. So there is work currently being done by CAL FIRE and some other organizations. But what's going to help you as an individual and your neighbors is doing the Firewise communities and the 4291. So 4291 is required by law. We do have inspectors. We have 6 that go throughout the unit to do inspections, and then we have 1 inspector that does AB 38. Are you guys familiar with what AB 38 is? AB 38 is the new regulation where if you're doing a real estate transaction and there's a structure on that property, it has to pass the 4291 compliance to finish escrow, or there has to be a negotiation between the buyer and seller for that work. So the hot topic that's been recent is Zone Zero. In 2019, we were directed to develop a Zone Zero. Firewise communities and NFPA have been practicing Zone Zero as long as I can remember. And basically, that's the first 5 feet from your home. What we're really looking for, it's pretty simple. We don't want anything that can burn within 5 feet of your home. What does that look like? Can anybody describe what 5 feet from your home looks like? Your arm span. Yeah, I use that all the time. If you touch the side of your house, stretch out your arms, that's roughly 5 feet, not a lot of space. Not only are we looking for the debris and the vegetation to be removed, but the Board of Forestry has been going back and forth on what the verbiage will be as far as the home hardening piece of Zone Zero, so things like decks, fencing, those kinds of things. And the one thing that people are forgetting a lot in Zone Zero here is your wood pile needs to be in Zone 2, so at least 30 feet from your home. Your wood pile, they're using storage, their decks for storage underneath. All of that stuff is a place for what? Embers. So when you guys are doing your yard work, typically every spring people start doing that. It needs to be done year round, as we saw with Palisades and Eaton Fire this year. We need to do it year round, and embers are going to be typically what ignites your house on fire first. It's very rare that flame impingement is going to be the first thing that your house experiences, because embers precede the main body of the fire. So Zone Zero is a new concept for a lot of folks, but it's pretty simple. If it can burn, which is just about anything out there, given the right conditions, can burn, remove it from being right next to your house. Defensible space, zone 1, that's the one that we all know that we've been doing forever and ever and ever, but now instead of going from 0 to 30 feet, it's from 5 feet to 30 feet. The laws there have not changed. It's all the same thing. Nothing deadened down. Make sure you have 10 feet of clearance around your propane tanks. Make sure you have 10 feet of clearance above your roof line and around your chimneys. Make sure that your vegetation is pruned and well spaced out. And when I say well spaced out, I'm talking more than 10 feet between clusters of vegetation, and keep those very small. So a single tree or a single bush. And do hardscaping between those areas. And then zone 2 also has not changed. It's the 30 feet to 100 foot area. That's where you can start seeing a little bit more vegetation patches. I try to tell people to keep your vegetation at least less than 10 feet in diameter with 10 feet clearance in between. You can have grasses that are about 4 inches tall as long as they're not taller. You can have up to 3 inches of duff. So those of you that live in the higher country, duff is all the needles that are decaying and becoming soil. You can have up to 3 inches, but nothing above that. And then the important part with this is when you're doing, this is the fuel reduction part in zone 2. You need to have at least 6 feet of height between the ground and the first branch of your vegetation, or 3 times the height of whatever's going to be left underneath it. So if you have a manzanita bush below a pine tree, you're going to have, and that manzanita bush is 3 foot tall, you need a minimum of 9 feet, but to stay compliant with our ingress egress rules, you need to have a minimum of 10. That's so that our equipment can get to your property. And then 10 feet of clearance, this one's hard, especially in the high country, but 10 feet of clearance also between tree structures. So we like that nice shade canopy that trees give us, but it's what carries fire in the canopy. Home hardening, there's a ton of home hardening stuff that's going on. The laws will be changing for some of it in the wildland-urban interface. I have some of these documents at the back table. You can easily get them at this website. There's gonna probably be more websites and you're never gonna remember what they are. So I have a Linktree card at the back that you can easily put in your pocket or put on your refrigerator, and it combines anything and everything that is wildfire or disaster preparedness for the Tuolumne Calaveras unit attached to it. Everything from home hardening, defensible space, to the Calaveras County Sheriff's Office, to how to sign up for emergency alerts, how to start a FireWise community. If you can think about it and it applies to emergency response, that's where you're gonna find it and not have to remember all of those websites. And then this is my contact information. You can get a hold of me at any time if you have any questions. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Emily. Certainly fire is on the tip of all our minds, especially what happened at Chinese Camp last week. And we've seen so many fires locally and around our state, so thank you for the presentation. And if you need any more information, definitely contact CAL FIRE. So this time I'd like to bring to the stage our Calaveras County Underchef, Chris Villegas. And also a big shout out to our folks here serving our food this morning. That breakfast was absolutely delicious. So thank you folks back in the back from Moe's Bakery. Thank you.
All right. My name's Chris Villegas. I'm the Undersheriff of Calaveras County. The Sheriff Whiting is out today, so you guys are stuck with me. As you all know, this past week, the county suffered damage from what was called the Lightning Complex. This complex consisted of 21 fires in the Tri-County area, which burned nearly 15,000 acres. And in our county, we dispatched our deputies to multiple fires early Tuesday morning with some immediate evacuations needed. During the first 18 hours, the fires continued to move towards homes, businesses, and towns, which included Ironstone Winery, the towns of Vallecito, Murphys, and Copperopolis. Due to quick decisions and a unified command, I'm happy to say we did not lose any residences, businesses, and most importantly, we did not lose any lives. There were a couple of outbuildings, though. In response to the fires, the Sheriff's Office deployed 39 of our sworn, which included many deputies, corporals, sergeants, as well as lieutenants, captains, and even the sheriff and I. We deployed our volunteer unit, and we were assisted by Calaveras County probation officers, as well as California Highway Patrol, who all helped tremendously. And as usual, we had an amazing support from our Board of Supervisors, as well as our CEO and her office, so thank you for that. Amador County Sheriff's Office also reached out to us and offered us any assistance that they could possibly give us. We have a great relationship with our neighboring county sheriffs, and it was nice to hear from them. And I also want to take a second to thank the Calaveras County Fairgrounds for their hospitality. That was where our incident command post was set up, and they're always very gracious with their space out there. We continued our 12-hour shifts and 24-hour coverage and provided security of the evacuated areas to ensure our citizens did not fall victim to crime while the evacuations were in place. As of now, all the evacuation orders and warnings have been lifted. All of our roadways are open, and the sheriff's office is back to normal-ish shifts. Thank you to all of the county and state fire partners for their response and their dedication during this event. And I also want to thank our citizens and business owners for their patience and understanding. We understand that being evacuated is difficult emotionally and physically, and sometimes, some cases, financially. It's important for all of you to know that your Sheriff, Rochelle Whiting, worked around the clock to ensure your safety and the safety of your properties, as well as getting you repopulated back into your homes and businesses as quickly as possible. All right, let's move on to a little bit about budget. That's always fun. We faced budget reductions for about 3 fiscal years now. Creating the 25-26 budget was tough with these reductions, but we worked with our county administration to maintain the level of programs and personnel needed to provide uninterrupted service to Calaveras County. We're confident that we will not be cutting any services to the public this fiscal year, and we've also made some important purchases at the end of last year and coming on into this year as well. Our deputies are all carrying state-of-the-art, less than lethal tasers. We transitioned to green dot sights on our firearms so deputies can focus more on their target and have time for de-escalation. We completed a project to replace all of the laptops in the patrol vehicles to keep the deputies working more in the field and out of the office. I wanted to give a special thanks to Fosco, Friends of the Calaveras Sheriff's Office, with their assistance and a gracious private donation. We just put a new crisis negotiations team van into service. That vehicle has solar panels and communication equipment so our trained hostage negotiators can de-escalate situations for long periods of time. We just purchased a new state-of-the-art unmanned aerial vehicle, a UAV or drone for short. Drones have become essential equipment for our operations, and this drone will be used for aerial photography, overwatch during critical incidents, and search and rescues. We're in the process of also purchasing some patrol vehicles this year as well. So on to staffing. We just had one recruit graduate from the Delta Police Academy in Stockton, and we currently have 3 others at the Delta Police Academy, with a graduation date in mid-January. We're making plans to send 3 to 4 additional to the next academy, and I'm also thrilled to report that we are finally fully staffed with dispatchers. That's a tremendous feat, and if you speak to any other sheriff's offices around the state, they'll tell you they don't believe us. We do have some correctional officer positions open still, in case anybody's interested. I can get you guys applications. And we see ourselves being fully staffed with deputies in the upcoming months, which has only happened once in the 28 years that I've been here, and it happened for about 2 weeks, I think. Some crime stats. Crime stats are down. This is due to staffing levels and lots of proactivity. Last year, we created a community survey to gather input from our citizens on how they felt that the Sheriff's Office was doing and to learn especially what our citizens and visitors think the greatest problems are in our community. They see our biggest public safety issues in Calaveras County being burglary and thefts, drug abuse, some traffic issues like speeding and passing over double yellow lines, and driving under the influence and causing fatal crashes, which we see far too often. Also on the list, domestic violence and dealing with the unhoused population. We will continue our work to work side by side with the public to identify crime trends and the most efficient ways to deal with those issues. Our cold case team. Another highlight over this past year is the amazing work that our Calaveras County Cold Case Task Force has been doing with advanced DNA technology and genetic genealogy. In the last year, the task force identified Reginald Frisbee, who was a previously unidentified victim of the Wilseyville killings. The task force also identified and was able to send the remains of Brenda O'Connor to her family. Brenda was a known victim of the Wilseyville killings. However, her remains were previously not able to be identified through DNA, so she had never been returned to her loved ones. The Cold Case Task Force was able to do that, and they're currently working on other DNA profiles that have been assigned to genealogy, and non-county funds that have been raised are being used to pay for the processing and reprocessing of evidence from numerous old homicide cases. So we encourage everyone to stay tuned for the local Cold Case Task Force for information. They have a fundraiser coming up on November 8th, which is always a great event. A lot of good stories, a lot of good speakers that are there, and you can purchase tickets and make donations through their website. And last but not least, our search and rescue team. I'm sure you all saw the search and rescue press release last month about the missing mother and son that our SAR team located. This created a lot of focus on their team, which was well deserved and definitely highlighted their efforts. This was a rescue that received nationwide attention and media coverage, and I'm happy to say over the past year that through funds from the Sheriff's Office and some grant funds, and especially search and rescue fundraising, we were able to acquire a new search and rescue command truck for that volunteer unit. Should be hitting the street in not too long. And lastly, I'd like to close by reminding everyone that tomorrow's never guaranteed. Most of us go to work every day with our busy schedules on our mind, and we forget that the life we have here is a gift, and it's a short one at that. Use today to do something positive or something that makes you or somebody else feel good about themselves, maybe just for a moment. Remember, positivity is contagious, but negativity is also contagious. It's also a privilege to live in this amazing county. We have an amazing, beautiful county with a lot of fun stuff to do here. Find ways to enjoy it. It doesn't take too much energy to find good ways. I'm going to take some time today to put my phone down. Not too long, because I'm on call, so I can't be away from the phone. Hopefully the sheriff doesn't call while I put my phone down. Maybe I'll just put it on vibrate. I'll definitely turn off the TV and stay off of social media and go outside, maybe spend some time with my wife, who just drove up here early in the morning to watch me talk. She has to watch me talk all the time at home, so she's not very impressed. But go outside, maybe take a walk, maybe take the dog for a walk, talk to my kids a little bit, and spend some quality time with them. We could all benefit from making that a daily habit. Regardless of our political beliefs or our opinions, we're all people that deserve to be happy and live happy and in peace, and allow others to do the same. So be good to each other. Thank you. Whew. That was perfect timing, by the way. All zeros right at the end.
And can I have to the stage now from the Upper Mokelumne River Watershed Authority, Megan Leahy? And a big shout out to the sheriff here for those closing remarks there. I think that's something that's so important for us all to remember, the precious value of time, and just take a moment out to stop and think, and a moment of gratitude, and to really appreciate the surroundings that we live in and the blessings that we have. So thank you for those closing words. It's always good to hear that.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Let me just make sure I've got the tech figured out before I start talking here. That's the laser pointer. Here we go. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Megan Leahy. I provide project management support for the Upper Mokelumne River Watershed Authority, UMRA. Richard Sykes, UMRA's executive director, was supposed to be here today, but he couldn't make it, so I'm here in his place, so bear with me. I'm going to give an overview of UMRA, who UMRA is, what their mission is and activities are right now, and then I'm going to focus most of my 10 minutes on the forest program that UMRA is currently embarking on with the U.S. Forest Service. If you don't know a lot about UMRA, I encourage you to go to their website, umra.org, or just find me after this and we can chat and I can give you some connection emails and go from there. So thanks again for having me. So UMRA is a joint powers authority formed in 2000. It includes 3 counties, Calaveras and Amador and Alpine counties, along with 6 water agencies, including some that are here today. Calaveras County, sorry, I lost my place. Calaveras County Water District, Calaveras Public Utilities District, along with Amador Water Agency, East Bay Mud, and Jackson Valley Irrigation District. UMRA's mission is to develop partnerships, form plans, execute projects, and leverage federal and state investments for the regional benefit of the Upper McCollum River watershed. So in terms of scope, if you're not aware, the Upper McCollum watershed is within both Calaveras County, Amador County, and Alpine counties. It's about 550 square miles, ranging from elevations of 600 to over 10,000 feet in elevation. And it's a source of drinking water for Amador, Calaveras, and San Joaquin counties, and about 1.4 million East Bay Mud customers. Some of UMRA's key activities currently, I have those listed down at the bottom there, and you probably can't really see it because it's pretty tiny, so I apologize. But check out umra.org for more. Sponsoring the Mac Irwin program, updating the MAC plan, which was a state-approved integrated regional water management plan and secured more than $11 million in funding for infrastructure projects that benefit local communities. Other activities, regional level assessments and resource planning, including watershed assessments and Mogwais. UMRA supports the Youth Watershed Stewardship Program, a public education program led by Stewardship Through Education, a local organization for teachers. And finally, UMRA collaborates on forest health initiatives with U.S. Forest Service, Sierra Nevada Conservancy, CAL FIRE, Wildlife Conservation Board, Blue Forest, the Amador Calaveras Consensus Group, a local forest collaborative in the area, and many more. So the remainder of these slides are just going to be focused on that last bit, the forest program. Again, I don't know if you can actually really see what's on the slide, apologies, but I'll just walk through what's here on the slide. So UMRA's forest program essentially has 5 major components. So the first is obviously to improve forest health and resilience within the Upper McCollum watershed, and reduce the risk of the risk of severe wildfires by increasing pace and scale of fuels reduction and forest health related projects within the watershed and adjacent to the watershed as well. UMRA is also partnering with, like I mentioned, the Amador Calaveras Consensus Group, ACCG, a local volunteer forest collaborative, also tribal entities and other stakeholders to help them help us develop and implement and monitor this forest program effort. UMRA is also preparing NEPA and CEQA ready treatment projects as quickly as possible. The next few slides will be more into that information. UMRA is also preparing the watershed for substantial grant opportunities, which I'll talk about here in a minute, and also continuing to help contractors and local economy maintain and build capacity in the forest sector. Let's see, real briefly, this is just a background. For the past 5+ years, UMRA's been working with the ACCG, funded by SNC and others, to help understand what the risk is to the Upper McCollum watershed. So thanks to SNC, Sierra Nevada Conservancy funding, in 2020, ACCG and UMRA completed a wildfire risk assessment. Bottom line is, it's really hard to see, but the purple is what was modeled and analyzed to be really high risk areas. And for purposes of understanding where the heck we're looking at, the lower half we're talking is Calaveras County. and the upper half is Amador, and up here is Alpine. Purple is the highest risk to modeled wildfire. Back in 2020, this is the information that we used to propel the UMRA's forest program, which is more of the map on the right is just showing where the initiative for UMRA's forest program is centralized in. Really hard to see. The little orange blob is about 26,000 acres within Amador County on the Amador Ranger District, El Dorado National Forest, which we're currently implementing, which I'll talk about in a second. The bigger green cyan blob there, I'll talk about in a minute, is called the MAC project, which is a 250,000 acre project. We're working in both Stanislaus National Forest, Calaveras Ranger District, and El Dorado National Forest to initiate forest thinning and fields reduction work to reduce wildfire risk within those two national forests. Just want to shout out to many different entities within the state, at the federal level, helping us do all of this modeling and spatial analysis to help us understand where we should go next with our forest health program. It's a lot of data analysis going on currently. So just essentially we have, this is our forest program in a nutshell on a map. And these are the three major pillars of the forest program right now. I'll talk briefly about phase one. It's called the Forest Projects Plan, FPP. That's the 26,000 acres of fields reduction work that is going on currently in the Amador Ranger District in Amador County. The next phase, phase two, is currently in the NEPA planning phase. And this will encompass both Calaveras County within the Calaveras Ranger District on the Stanislaus National Forest and also on the El Dorado. And this again is about 250,000 acres proposed for treatment with either fields reduction, forest thinning, and or prescribed fire. And lastly, we also are doing a watershed-wide aspen restoration assessment and NEPA plan. This is a horrifically busy map, apologies. This is just giving you a sense of, these are all the different projects. There's about 18 within the FPP phase one project that we're currently implementing. Getting low on time, so I'm gonna zoom a little bit. And essentially we're trying to get to a scale where we're conducting fields reduction at about 2,000 to 4,000 acres per year for the next hopefully 10 to 15 years. So with this phase one, last year was our first real year of implementation. We got about 2,000 acres done. This year we're hoping to get nearly 5,000 acres done, so a little bit double that. And we'd like to keep that pace moving forward. So these are just some pictures from the phase one implementation effort that's currently going on in the Amador Ranger District. So I mentioned that phase two was this 250,000 acre project, both in Calaveras County, Amador County, and Alpine County within Forest Service lands. Hard to see, but essentially this is what we are currently proposing for treatments. This is in the NEPA planning phase currently. We're actually just started a public comment period yesterday. So we do have a 14-day public comment period on the proposed action and purpose and need of this NEPA project going on currently. If you'd like to learn more, grab me afterwards and I can give you more information. But essentially, we're proposing about 80,000 acres of forest thinning, so about 40,000 of those in the Calaveras County, and about 50,000 acres of fields reduction, so half of that, about 25,000 acres in Calaveras County as well within Forest Service lands. Big project. We anticipate that NEPA planning will be completed early in the 2026 calendar year, and hopefully implementation can begin either in 2026 or 2027 for this work, both in this county and Amador and Alpine. I'm over on time, so I'll stop there. I, again, really appreciate you guys listening to me, and if you have any questions, check out umra.org or, find me afterwards. Thanks.
And now welcome to the stage from Mother Lode Job Training, Tammy Steritz. Tammy's coming up right here, so thank you.
Okay, one more time. Good morning. My name is Tammy Sterrett, and I'm with Mother Lode Job Training. And Mother Lode Job Training has been in our area for 43 years. And yay. I'm filling in for James Hansen, who is our business manager and the one that usually comes out to talk with you. And so I apologize that I'm kind of a rookie at this, but I'm really passionate about what we do at Mother Lode Job Training and the services that we can provide for both job seekers and employers alike, in ensuring that there's a continuum of services to connect and supply the demands for both sides of the labor market. So we're helping job seekers find jobs. We're helping employers find the right employees. We have 4 centers to serve you. There's the Amador Center, the Calaveras Center, Mariposa, and Tuolumne. Our Calaveras Center has recently moved, and we're now at 560 Mountain Ranch Road, so we're right on the corner there. Easy to find, easy access, lots of parking. It's been a good move. So we help with recruitment and hiring. We partner with our local businesses to kind of streamline that process. So we're doing things like job fairs. We can come out and help you on site with your local recruitments, like screening candidates, things like that. We also post jobs for you. So if businesses have jobs coming up and they want us to assist with the advertising of that, we will, we call them job posts, and we put them up into our CalJobs system. We put them on our Facebook, we create flyers, and just kind of, we're seeking the right people to fill your needs. So we're leveraging regional partnerships to match the candidates with the employers. So it's kind of a unique situation where we can really find the right matches. The people that we see, you never know who's going to come through the door, but we have a steady stream, and we have people from 16 to 80 years old. And so it's a wide range of people that are looking for jobs. Our on-the-job training program is pretty awesome in that during the first, I would say up to 6 months of bringing someone on, we can sometimes assist with providing an incentive to offset their costs, which is up to 75% of their wages. We can help businesses pay, and that learning, that 6 months is when you're, learning, trying to train, and that part and piece can get costly for businesses, and so it fits well in that we're serving and paying for some of that cost, so you can sort through the right people, find who you want for the jobs that you have. We assist with layoff assistance, which is essentially if we know businesses are downsizing or there's closures, we can come in and work with the people that are affected and trying to help them get started in new jobs or with trainings, or essentially whatever will take to keep them employed and able to meet their needs. We have an awesome program called Skill Up. It assists with, for free, people can sign up on our website for Skill Up Metrics. It's a system where you can go in and learn about all kinds of skill sets. It can be things like Microsoft applications, or learning customer service, or HR type things. There's 7,000 applications that you can use for yourself or your businesses, and it's free of charge, and it's just a great way to skill up and get some training, or you can even get certifications through that Skill Up Matrix. So this is just, we offer real-time data on hiring trends and wages and demand. This helps a lot of times when people come in and they're not sure what they want to do, and they just kind of have get a feel for what our local market is like, what businesses are thriving here. And I use this a lot in our youth programs when youth have like a dollar amount in mind what they want to make and wages, or they're just not sure what certain jobs entail. This is a great way for us to help and assist in our local economy so that people are aware of what's happening here. So we have some amazing training programs at Mother Lode Job Training. We're on our 5th cohort for the Greater Sierra Forestry Corp program. And in that program, we've had like 10 to 15 people in each cohort. A lot of them here from Calaveras County who have been able to go through a training program that's a mix of partners. Columbia College offers the training. It's roughly like 20 weeks of training where they can get certifications in wildland management and fire safety. They've gave a lot of young people some great starts, and they've been able to get hired on with the forestry, CAL FIRE, and businesses like that. We know that is, just as you've heard, like in our area with the wildfires, we have to get in front of this and educate our next generation on how to care for the forest so that this isn't an ongoing issue. So we're trying to recharge this industry. Alongside of that, of course, is like the logging operations. There's not a lot of people coming in that are skilled in that area. There's a definite skill gap that we're trying to bridge and train people and give them opportunities to learn how to drive logging trucks, to learn what it takes, because it's a definite skill and different than other types of Class A driving. It's just specific, and this we just partnered with Valley Build, and they help some of our local people get rolling with the union, with the labor's union, and that happened over Labor Day, so it was very opportune and perfect timing. In our area, we don't have a lot of industry, and ironically, it made me think about, in '84 when the plant went down, and that it came about as a result of we voted union out, and that was near and dear to my heart because that was my dad's role at the plant as a union rep, and so that's happened over Labor Day. It was amazing and awesome to me because we're bringing back union labor jobs, and people are excited about it, and there's a need and a demand, and we're able to help fill this gap and create jobs here locally. we've done a lot with the healthcare industry, and I know I'm out of time, but I'm going to hurry through. Yeah, this is another area where we've done some major work in helping train and help people get certified in phlebotomy, medical assisting, and we're going to do it again this spring. So it's an opportunity also where we could do some of that on-the-job training and work experience. If businesses are willing to allow some of our newly trained people come in and do internships, that's something that we can offset in large and help businesses as well as getting our newly trained people into their careers. So we have new employees in the business and economic development services who are doing some other major work all throughout the region. And their initiatives we're just seeing come to reality. So stay tuned for a lot more that's happening in our workforce development boards and mother-in-law job training. There's just a lot of things that we can do to help your businesses and to help job seekers in amazing ways. We're trying to fill the gaps and eliminate barriers so that those things can run more smooth and people can go to work and survive in our local area, because I too, this is home, and this is, Calaveras County is very near and dear to me, and I want to be proactive in keeping that, keeping things alive and going and running, and it being a great place to be. Thank you for having me.
Presentation, and certainly appreciate the presentation from all the speakers, and really enjoy seeing really the commitment to the community and the passion that all our speakers have had today. So big round of applause for all of our speakers. Thank you. If you're not a chamber member, make sure you connect with Rachel. She can make sure that she gets you set up with a membership and answer any questions that you may have. And also I want to thank the folks who put this on today, our staff and the folks back here in the back. And would you please, before you leave, grab your chairs and maybe just stack against the wall here or maybe stack against the wall there. And have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Thank you for coming out today and supporting the chamber.